So in everyday's life, we got challenges when it comes to running our businesses. So the businesses that we are running, like mostly those who are doing the small, medium enterprises and also the entrepreneurs around, they get affected by the challenges that come daily. Today we get into discussion with one of the business experts to discuss what one can do in the small business areas or in the entrepreneurship sector to boost it when it comes to challenges like the pandemic that we are currently having. So I'm going to introduce our business expert here, and he gets to explain to us what are the things that we expect by this time and also things that we should do to keep us going. Stay tuned as you keep watching. So I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and then we get to discuss.
Thank you. My name is Ishmael Marketing. I am a business analyst. I have a background in finance and also in accounting. And I've actually developed a special interest, especially in business trends in the past and also what we're going through currently.
There are viewers that might get disturbed that we are discussing about entrepreneurship. Who is this person called or named as an entrepreneur?
When you look at entrepreneurship, basically entrepreneurship is derived from the word entrepreneur or enterprise. And from our economic perspective, an enterprise or entrepreneur is actually a factor of production whose reward is profits. So entrepreneurship is basically that aspect of identifying gaps in the market, and then also come up with formidable ways which you can be able to fill those gaps in the market. We normally see that through startups, through businesses, through firms which are normally started to provide unique services and goods which are geared towards or satisfying the needs and the wants of the consumers.
So when someone introduced to me him or herself as an entrepreneur, what kind of perspective should I have in mind to rate this person?
You basically rate this person as somebody who has first of all identified gaps in the market, as somebody who is ready, willing, and probably has already taken moderate risks. Moderate risks come when you want to start something. Basically, there's a lot of uncertainty. So there is that aspect of uncertainty bearing. You don't start a business with the promise that you're obviously going to start generating profits from the word go. There is that aspect of what you can call turbulence from when you're beginning as you monitor whether you're going to grow, because not all businesses fail towards growth. There are some which start and then they fail. So an entrepreneur basically should take moderate risk in the sense that he should undertake a venture which there is some promise of returns in the near future. In most cases, when you look at like gambling, there are some schools of thought which can qualify a gambler as an entrepreneur. The only difference comes with the aspect of innovation and risk. With gambling, there is basically no innovation, but there is very high risk. But now with entrepreneurship, it is the opposite. There is high innovation and there is low risk, because there is no business which you can say it is zero risk unless it is the treasury bills of the government. All the businesses have some element of risk, and as an entrepreneur, you should go for ventures which have moderate risk with the goal of getting returns in the long run and also in the short run.
Now, when you talk of risk, let us now bring it to this time now. The pandemic has hit the country and even the world at large. Most of the persons are laid off from their jobs where they were gaining a salary within in a month, and now they are trying to come up with an idea or to find an opportunity within the area where they are living to start a small business. What are the factors that we might consider at this time of the pandemic?
Ideally, when we talk about risk, we can also qualify this pandemic as a risk, because it has adversely affected businesses, not only in our country here, but also globally. And there are businesses or sectors which are hard hit, especially for the SMEs, or what you also call the small and medium enterprises. Personally, when I walk through the streets nowadays, I am actually disturbed to see very nice vehicles like a Prado, and somebody walking in the boot of a Prado. We've seen so many vehicles parked along the markets and people trying to actually sell fruits, to sell onions, to try to sell some of these perishables so that they can be able to get some income. So the people who, especially for the SMEs which had employed people, and because of this COVID-19, so the cash flows were hit. So the fact that these businesses could not be able to get enough cash flows, they could not be able to sustain the normal operations of the many businesses, especially when it comes to the fixed costs like rent, salaries, and that is why that aspect of some most of employees are being laid off. So we have quite a number of Kenyans who now are at home because they are not going to work, and you obviously have to make ends meet because there are some costs you have to meet periodically, the others you have to meet daily, others monthly, like rent you have to pay monthly, water, there is electricity you have to pay, and whether the income is coming or not, you see, you have to come up with ways which you can be able to caution yourself from some of these adverse effects which we are experiencing. And that is why most people have turned to income generating activities, and basically the magnitude of investment somebody can make in any income generating activity is heavily dependent on your financial stamina at the moment, because capital is what dictates the scale of investment that one can be able to make. The financial strength that you have, because even the level of borrowing now, whether you wanted to get maybe additional funds to start a business from a bank or a microfinance institution, you find that that aspect of easily getting this additional capital from these funds has actually reduced with this effects of COVID. So the financial stamina, the financial strength somebody did have before the corona break can also dictate the amount of investment that he or she can be able to make. That is why we have most people who are going for very simple startups, especially to deal with groceries. It's simply because with the groceries, first of all, you don't need so much money for you to be able to start. And then also, groceries normally have ready markets because that means that most of them are perishables, especially the onions, the vegetables, the fruits, and these are items you're going to be consumed on a daily basis. So you can be able to get a ready market within the estates, within the streets. Even in town here, you normally see people selling such. So there are also no legal requirements which you have to meet for you to be able to start such a business. And like when you want to start a company, there are quite lengthy procedures you have to be subjected to before actually what you call before incorporation. But now that one is absent when you come to these very small businesses. Just maybe a small permit with the local authorities, and also your capital, and then also your source, where you're also going to be getting these items you said. You have to ensure that you get a constant supply, because in the event you start building a consumer base, you'll also need now to ensure that you avail what they need at the right time.
So when we relate an aspect of having a capital, then there's this person who was already running the business with the capital that they started with, then laid off workers. Now he gets to involve the family coming into the business. Is there an effect that the family might bring to the business?
That one may depend on the nature of the business. There are some businesses which may require skills or skilled workers, and if the family don't have those skills, then they may not bring an impact. Actually, they may not generate much paper. But for businesses which don't require so much skill, especially actually for most SMEs, you don't require so much skills. the input from the family members can come in handy. Simply because sometimes we have laid off workers to be able to beat the cost of labor because the cash flows are constrained. So bringing in the aspect of the family will mean that they will assist you to generate income, yes, but you don't have that fixed cost of labor. Yes. So there is an impact that one can be able to help, because after the money that would have gone towards payment of salaries and wages can actually be able to be used to maybe boost or replenish the stock, depending on the nature of the business that's happening. And it's actually a very noble idea, especially now, because even most family members are probably at home. Colleges are closed, most workplaces are not operating as they were in the past. So you can also be able to engage family members in the businesses. Normally, when you look at our nature of operations, especially we Africans, we don't try to train our family members or even our young ones on the lines of business. We can see that from most Asian communities, even with a very simple business, you find that the people who are already being trained to take over. So it is basically a transition of a family business from one generation to another, and it actually serves many generations. That is normally absent with us, and I think it's an idea we can be able to incorporate, especially now when we are trying to create that paradigm shift from this aspect of white collar jobs, so that we can be able to also focus on people being self-employed.
So there are always challenges when it comes to running a business, and most the challenging one is competition within the market. As at now, people are getting into small businesses, but with an aim of having a profit. But there are too many persons doing the same businesses that they're doing. Take an example. Mostly when you walk within the streets today, you will find most people selling face masks. So what can one do by this time to make sure that they beat the competition in the market?
One thing we should actually agree on is that competition has been there, it is there, and it is still there. Unless you are operating a monopoly, that is when you can be able to be cautioned from competition. A monopoly is like, let's say, KPLC, where we know that they enjoy monopoly power in the supply of electricity. But all of these other businesses, even if you are to come up with an idea today and you start making what you can call supernormal profits, that one is going to prompt other producers or other entrepreneurs to want to also do the same thing, so that they can be able to get that market share. So that in the long run, you now don't make supernormal profits, but you make normal profits, which are going to assist you to sustain the business or remain relevant in the market. But being that all businesses have competition, you are competing for the same market share, for the same customers. The only thing now that you can be able to maybe use to be able to remain in business is actually trying to modify operations so that you are ahead of the rest. Modification of operations can come in so many angles. First of all, look at your customer care or your customer service. You make sure that you give exemplary service to customers. When a customer feels that he has gotten quality from the way you handling the customer, those very simple things that you can do in a business, they actually mean a lot, and they contribute to what you can be able to call brand loyalty. We find that even if there are 7 people selling tomatoes, there is that one customer who will simply come and surpass these 6 and come to the 7th person simply because you handled him or her well the last time he or she came to you. So you can still be able to come up with so many incentives so that you can be able to get what you call loyal customers. And then also the aspect of pricing. We have to price our goods and services in such a way that we don't aim to make a kill once. Businesses grow over time. There are people who will want to make profits over 100% margin overnight. And in such cases, you find that, like in SMEs, you're dealing with fast-moving consumer goods. You have to put your pricing in an aspect that it is reasonable, so that now that one can be able to attract new customers. Don't make your goods so expensive when somebody can be able to get them at a much fair price somewhere else. That will mean that they'll forego your goods or services and get them elsewhere at a much cheaper price. And then also, with this issue of COVID-19, if somebody can be able to bring items like, or maybe something like house delivery, be it for groceries, be it for onions, be it for tomatoes. We have people who are in the house because of these issues of COVID-19. There are others who are even reluctant to move from one place to another. If you can be able to be doing house deliveries, especially within the estates, you can come up with a blog or even a website or even Facebook marketing, because social media is one of the robust ways of being able to reach a wide clientele, especially now, because most people nowadays have access to internet. So through that use of even social media, you can be able to be doing house deliveries, and that one can be able to make you ahead of the rest.
In enterprises, they are also affected by, like somebody starting a business, but there is a control of, they can't run or buy some goods within their businesses or sell them within their businesses because of their culture. And even how is ethnicity is coming in when it comes to like employing somebody to run the businesses. How does this too affect business?
The issue of culture, we can also not assume that it does not have any effect on the business. Because basically when you look at consumers, we have rational consumers, and the aspect of consumption is influenced by a number of factors. It could be price, it could be taste and preferences, it could be culture. Take an example of even clothing, the type of clothes you want to sell. You see, there are some religions which dictate their clergy, their membership to dress in a certain manner. So obviously there are some clothing which they either detest or they cannot be able to buy. Similarly, even when it comes to food, there are some religions which dictate that their followers they consume this and not to consume this. So it will be ideal that even as an entrepreneur, there are some items in the market you need to be aware of. You should understand the market and also get to know the dynamics of the people you're going to target, so that you can be able to now come up with the goods and services which you are sure they are going to be bought. See, it will be very impractical for somebody to start selling sanitary parts in a basement. That is somebody who clearly does not understand the market. You can also not come up with a butchery selling pork in an area that is dominated by Muslims. So these cultures, I really be aware of them, and they, in a way, they influence business, and also even when they are coming up with ideas, we should also be cognizant of all these cultures. Now they're going to impact our startups.
Elaborate something on ethnicity.
Ethnicity, especially when it comes to business, and I think you said something about employment. Normally with employment, especially in Kenya, I think there are laws which regulate how you're supposed to be employed, and in most cases, because we don't want to have that aspect that we are looking down upon somebody or maybe some race or some ethnicity. Employers are normally admonished to be equal employers, to give equal opportunities. But you find that there are some people who may not wish to work in some setups because of probably maybe their ethnicity and stuff. And also, that one can affect, like personally, I have friends who cannot work on a server, or they cannot work in a institution that where people go to work on a server. I have people who cannot work in a company that makes alcohol, or they cannot work in a company that sells alcohol because of their beliefs. And also, ethnicity also plays a role when it comes to consumers, and also their consumption behaviors, and also their patterns.
So you will just have this opportunity to elaborate certain business ideas that might come during this time of the pandemic. And now when one is already in the business, there might be challenges that they may face. How are they going to adapt to such challenges?
Well, thank you. We actually are in a time which was actually unforeseen. And normally there's one writer who says that the only sure thing we are sure about the future is that we're not sure about it. So nobody thought that COVID could come. Even at the beginning of the year, when we were hearing about COVID in other countries, we didn't imagine we will be in a situation as a country now where we are recording these cases on a daily basis. But of course, that has come with some changes, even in the business world. There are some industries in this country as of now which are not operating optimally. There are some businesses which have been ordered closed by the government. You realize that, especially when it comes to learning institutions, they have actually been closed. That notwithstanding, we still have to keep building the economy. There are so many opportunities still which you can identify with this COVID-19. You realize, especially when it comes even to the learning industry, and despite the fact that colleges, high schools, primary schools have been closed, they're trying to come up with virtual learning so that they can be able to reach out and reach to their students who are still at home. This aspect of bringing in virtual learning will also mean that in a way there is an increased demand for internet in households. There is an increased demand for smartphones because these other phones will be able to facilitate this aspect of virtual learning. And when you even look at most of these small businesses, be it for groceries, be it for tomatoes, be it for clothes, most of them actually are struggling with rent because they're not making proceeds the way they used to before this COVID came. So, besides identifying new ideas, we can still actualize the businesses which were there, but now we will try to maybe modify operations in a way so that you can be able to keep them abreast. We've talked about the aspect of social media marketing. We have to agree that social media is a powerful tool which can be able to open the market of somebody, not only within maybe it's like a place of residence, but also countrywide. And we've seen so many businesses which have been able to do their marketing online, and they have been able actually to grow. When you look at a business like Kilimanjaro Junior, you see, you cannot walk to a store and say that I want to go to Kilimanjaro and buy these items. It's basically an online store. And being an online store is assisted to pick the cost of rent. That cost of rent can be used now to grow the business in other aspects, like maybe giving the crazy discounts that we see. So similarly, even these small businesses which are struggling with the issue of rent, there's some items which you can even sell from the comfort of your home, just like photos, and then you market and you ask friends to share and WhatsApp, and then you try to build an online clientele. Once you have a good online clientele, you come up with a Facebook page, because that's where normally most people start. A Facebook page that has traffic. Then also have a Facebook page, then you can link that with maybe a website. You create your own hosted website, then you can have like your contact numbers, and then the aspect of delivery, which we've talked about, because now social media opens you to a market that is so wide. You can have people who want to buy items who are even in Nairobi, who are in Mombasa. So that aspect of delivery also has to come in. So even in your pricing, you also have to factor that. So these small businesses can still thrive in this pandemic if we can be able to come up with formidable ways of how we can be able to market and also open up customer bases.
So can we say that COVID-19 has been of a positive impact to small businesses?
That one will be lying, simply because the disadvantages that have come with COVID-19 actually supersede the advantages. There are so many businesses which have adversely been affected. There are so many businesses which probably some may peak after the COVID-19, others may still not peak, because probably what you can call the debt accumulation. Before people realize that this thing is here to stay, there are so many fixed costs which probably have already been accumulated from the month of March, April, May, like the cost of rent. I mean, when you're still keeping employees at work, hoping that things are going to get better. But now we're at a point whereby things are not getting better anymore. We're reporting an average of 600 cases on a daily basis. And that will mean that this COVID-19 may stay with us maybe after December. So between now and December, still there's a lot that we can be able to do to be able to keep generating income. And of course, these activities have to be compliant with the policies which have been communicated by the relevant ministries. The aspect of social distancing, the aspect of hand washing, the aspect of wearing masks has actually made some businesses unable to operate. That is why with online marketing, online selling, we actually beat all those. A customer does not have to wash his hands in his place of residence before he makes a purchase online. So we can be able to actualize the aspect of online marketing, online selling, and also come up with good ways to ensure that the customers have the confidence that they're not being subjected to many scams or theft.
So what is your final advice to that person who already have the idea but still fear to get into the market?
In most cases, we find that there's an author was arguing that there are so many ideas which have gone to the graves because people fail to actualize them. Even in business, having an idea and not actualizing it, that one now is what I don't know how best we can describe that, but that is not advisable in business, because business is about taking risks. When you take risks, it means there can be a plus or minus. You cannot venture into a business knowing that now this actually has to be profitable. When we read about so many business startups in the past, there was that aspect of trial and error. You start to fail, you start to fail, you start to fail, and then you start again until the time now when the business is able to pay. So if there is somebody who has an idea, the most important thing to do is actually to actualize it. If you have the necessary resources, you realize that maybe that is that it may grow to be a global company maybe in 3 or 4 years. But now it is actually more painful not to try than try. You better start, you try and it fails than not starting at all. Because once you start, you can be able to monitor the business, you monitor the dynamics. You can be able to now know where exactly you can be able to take corrective action in the event things are not taken shape.
So, Mr. Mandri, say thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming. You have good advice, and I hope our people are going to learn. Thank you so much, viewers, for staying with us. And this time, we get you to understand when you now have the business, you've heard it from the expert that you have to come out. It's going to be very painful when you don't come out because of fear. Then at the later date, you realize that you had a very good idea to keep yourself going. Keep watching most of these stories by me, John Joseph, as we face the time of the pandemic. This is COVID-19 and business for HTV.